Hey, you know what? We should just start the show.
Welcome to Zero Hit Points, everybody. It's July 26th. I'm Ryan Miller, and he, Destiny 2, Matt Amberg.
How many times can you just rub salt in the wound? That's all you're attempting to do here. You see a gaping wound.
I'm foreshadowing.
You're skinning.
Tasteful foreshadowing. Well, okay, fine. What do you have that's better than Destiny 2?
Look.
What could you possibly...
I don't have anything better than Destiny 2. I don't have anything worse, though, either.
I don't believe that for a second.
My week was filled with the most quality of quality, and I will tell you why. I did not get to watch any movies this week.
Oh,
I did not.
That's okay. I love non-movie weeks. Like that. It's like we're playing fast and loose. It's like, what did he do?
Yeah, what did I do?
Real world things.
You don't know what I did. I'll tell you what I did. I went and saw
Okay.
Lucha Libre wrestling, and it was freaking rad.
And did you see more of that clip? Like, was that representative of your? Because I just got like a short clip from you.
I did, yeah. So I sent Ryan about a 30-second clip of the final match of the day. And it was pretty funny because the guy that you saw in the clip was going as his in-ring name was Little Rey Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio is an actual wrestler. Rey Mysterio Jr., very famous wrestler, has been in.
Oh, I didn't know there was a junior.
Yeah,
okay.
He's very famous. He's one of the guys that definitely popularized Lucha Libre or brought it to the forefront for a lot of people in WCW and WWE who were unfamiliar with it. They only knew that style of wrestling, the Hulk Hogan's. They didn't know that Lucha was a different thing, and it's a very different style of wrestling. And so this guy he was totally using the name, and he used the moves, and he was aping everything Rey Mysterio does, and totally used name recognition. Anybody walking by who knew, and it was great. They were fantastic. They had a couple of different, we saw 4 or 5 different matches. This was at the Denver County Fair, by the way, outside in like 95-degree weather.
To give you an idea, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so super warm. And the guys and the ladies, they were just, they were
some lady wrestlers. Huh?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I have clips.
Some lady luchas.
There were lady luchas.
They call them that?
Lucha lady, I don't know. They're luchadors. They're all wrestlers. Yeah, it was very cool. So they were doing their show because they were promoting. There's a local show that comes up every couple of weeks, and surprisingly, there's a ton of local wrestling, like semi-pro, non-pro, amateur.
I've been hearing about this more and more.
Yeah, I was unaware of how big this was, but it is like just not even lucha, just everything. But this is they had a whole bunch of like little kids walking around passing out little pamphlets, flyers, and stuff. And for Lucha that's happening on Sunday, we may actually go because it's awesome, man. I love Lucha. I actually like the wrestling. And Beth had never seen it, so like there are lots of athleticism, a little bit more athleticism to it than the standard, than a lot of what you'll see in WWE. Not to take away,
he did like a backflip off the post like it was nothing. Yeah. Like he landed like. He's done it a million times.
He might have. I don't know. He could be new. It could have been his first time.
So this is my question. I'm interested in wrestling from afar. Like I'm very interested in wrestling from when I grew up because they were all superstars, back then.
Yeah, totally.
Do they do a story kind of like, because I'm more interested in the kind of story aspect of wrestling, like the stuff they do almost behind the scenes and all the stupid, like the things that some people actually write, to be acted out behind, in and out of the ring.
The kayfabe, as it were.
Oh, okay.
That's the term.
Is it?
Yeah, it's called kayfabe. I don't know why it's called that. Kayfabe. That's the term used for in universe things that occur. Lucha does. This was mostly. This was just a display for the actual wrestling and stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
I know that Robert Rodriguez put together a show that's similar to WWE, and Robert Rodriguez is the director of he directed From Dusk Till Dawn
yeah.
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Yeah.
The important ones.
Spy Kids.
Yeah, Spy Kids. 1, 2, and 3. Never mess with Sly Stallone. But he has a show that's on Spike TV and is on Netflix, the first season, called Lucha Underground. And I haven't watched it, but as far as I know, it totally follows that similar WWE style where there's kayfabe, there's fights, there's they do pops, they do the on mic stuff, and yeah. It's just a lot more masks.
I will be interested in that from afar from now on.
It's cool. Check out Lucha Underground on Netflix.
From afar.
Well, I mean, you can play Gears while you're watching it.
Actually, I'm halfway through the Guild now. Actually,
yeah, it was okay.
And
it's funny.
I like it.
It's funny.
I really like it.
It's got some really funny bits to it. Yeah.
It does. I mean, it's a rough start like any show, but
yes.
It's incredibly charming. And then I did start to laugh out loud during the second season. When they start to do some character work. I had no idea the whole thing was written by Felicia Day too.
Yeah.
Felicia.
So the other thing we did at the Denver County Fair, we putzed around for a bit. There's not a ton to do at the county fair on like the last day at like 5 p.m. But one of my favorite circus performers was there, the Enigma. You may remember.
No kidding.
I don't know if you know who he is, but yeah, the Enigma. Like
I do know, like the real dude.
Yeah. It was a freak show. They had a freak show, and so he was there. He did his full performance of he's mostly known for sword swallowing, and he did a ton of sword swallowing. He did the apple in the mouth, and he chainsaws it out of his mouth, and I got freaking apple all in my beard. That was pretty cool.
Whoa.
We were in like the second row.
I was gonna say, were you front row? Okay.
Yeah, we were
Galaga.
right there. It was in a really small little area in the fair. It's not like it was a big stage or anything. This is like in a tiny room. But they packed it. There were probably 60, 80 people in there.
Before I interrupted you, were you going to say who you may know from his appearance on the X-Files?
I was going to say that.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, what was his name on the X-Files? Was it the Conundrum?
Yeah, it was something like some offshoot or
something.
So,
okay, we were a few years back, we were at Denver Comic-Con, and he had a booth there, and I think he's actually local. He and his partner or his girlfriend, whatever. I think they're local to here.
That's part of the magic of the Enigma, is that he feels like he's from your hometown.
He does. He's
actually think about it.
Slightly enigmatic about it. But we bumped into him, and we've actually met him before. We met him a bunch of times in Seattle. Both Beth and I in separate occasions when he would tour around with the Jim Rose Circus the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow, which is where he popped up in the X-Files season 2, episode 25, I think.
Wow. Okay.
It came out in 95, so a little older. But yeah, we bumped into him at Comic-Con, and neither of us, we had no signal, and we were like, what the hell was his name in the show? And we just couldn't remember, and Beth was certain it was the Quandary, and it wasn't, but she was like, but she walks up and she's like, I've got to ask you a question. What was your name in the X-Files? Because I keep thinking it was the Quandary. And he was like, no, it was the Conundrum or whatever. But he was like, that would have been so much better. And he's a funny dude. He totally went like okay. He made at least a few people very, very uncomfortable with his.
All right.
So he puts on a full show. So he does like he does stunts. He does the sword swallowing. He at one point sticks a tube up his nose and out his mouth, and then he like drinks a drink and it goes into his stomach, and then he spits it back into the bottle through his nose.
Nice.
He at one point he pulls out a condom. He's like, so I got this chewing gum here, and he sticks it in his mouth and up the back of his sinus, and then blows like he inflates it out his nose.
What? Okay.
So during all this, he's telling like really like terrible jokes. He at one point, this is the best example of a joke where everybody was silent except for me, and like, which was pretty consistent. Beth and I were the only ones really laughing. But he goes, okay, and he's like, I know what you guys all want to see. You want to see sword swallow. You want to see the danger. You want to see the thing that Robin Williams couldn't make funny, suicide. and just like dead crowd.
Oh.
And so he did that, but he was doing that towards religion and towards like Trumpers. And there were definitely a few both in the crowd that were not as pleased with his digs.
That's brilliant.
He was great. Really fun.
It's cool.
We came back to see the next act about an hour later, and it was these two sisters or two women going by they're not the Scissor Sisters, but there's something they were awful. Like, they packed the entire room, and their act was wholly based off the fact that we're pretty girls that can do some really weird stuff, but we're not good. They have no stage presence. They had no delivery. They had no, like, their back and forth was awful. And everything was like, look, I swallowed a sword. I'm doing the splits.
So nothing.
If you're doing all of the stuff and you've got an act to go with it, fine. They were bad. Like to the point where Beth was like, they're just terrible. We're leaving now.
Yeah, it sucks.
But the Enigma was great, and that was cool. Lucha Libre was great, and that was cool. And that was my week. That's
kind of, strangely enough, the movies I watched could be carnival related or
so
fair.
You watched the TV show Carnival, followed by Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and
I watched one of the great American trilogies that was just recently completed.
I'm trying to think of anything that I could make work here, and I got nothing.
You're right. Triple X. So
I unironically love the first movie.
Okay, the first movie, just called Triple X,
yes,
is good. It bad good maybe more than anything.
It's
but
Vin Diesel good. Okay,
it's Vin Diesel good. Well, it's also if you remember, it's in this kind of this weird era where he had hit it big with his movies and Fast and Furious, whatever. And it was kind of like, what do we do with him now? Like, I haven't looked it up exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised if this was very close to Fast and Furious 2 somewhere, since that one was kind of the low point until they figured some things out.
Yeah, but 4 movies later.
in any event, this movie is above all like the weirdest holdover from the 80s, maybe than anything. Like he's basically doing extreme stunts to solve crimes.
Yeah, that was how they marketed it.
He shoots a guy, like it's all encapsulated in the scene where he motorcycles, goes off a jump over a wall at Superman's, that does the
motorcycle trick, yeah,
and shoots a guy while he's doing it, and then lands and drives it. That encapsulates the whole movie pretty perfectly right there. But it came out in 2002. Like, I kept having to look up because
really?
I'm like, yeah, really, yeah, right.
Holy
I'm like,
okay.
this is early 90s at best.
Wow.
Or something, but which I knew it couldn't have been because of the Fast and Furious movies. But still, it's this weird gimmick and the line, "Welcome to the Xander Zone," and it is super fun.
I like that movie. I like
fun.
Asia Argento is in that movie, and
she does a fine job.
She's always usually fine. There are a couple of movies she's had where she's definitely been a standout. I am obviously a bigger fan of her dad. Her dad is Dario Argento, who is a major director, horror director. He kind of he really created and solidified the giallo film as something that can be scary. And giallo films are they're Italian.
I did not know she was related.
Italian horror, daughter.
I mean, and when I say she does a fine job in this movie, like, she does a fine job in this movie. Like, she's not turning in an awesome performance or anything. She gets it done, like this movie.
She does the same exact thing in Land of the Dead.
I haven't seen her.
I like her in that movie.
She's not working a whole lot.
Not anymore. She retired from acting, actually.
Did she? Okay.
Yeah, she only directs now and writes, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's fun and good. And then the sequel
with
Triple X State of the Union.
Ice Cube being not.
No, he is Darius Stone.
Sure he is.
His Triple X power is being gangsta. Like, there's no more extreme sports, which we're still Triple X. It's bad.
It was not
First
good.
movie, good, bad. bad good, this bad.
Yeah.
Like Ice Cube, even who I like, just not the performance of any time.
No. I mean, Boys in the Hood, amazing performance. You got to love that.
He has amazing performances out
Ghosts
there.
of
Barbershop
Mars
is just fine.
fantastic.
Friday, Ghosts of Mars.
I love Ghosts of Mars.
I kind of want to watch that again
It's
a lot
super
all the
cool.
time.
See, I'm telling you, we got to do it like you did with Craven. We got to do a Carpenter run. Man, there's so many good Carpenter flicks.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be a good one.
State of the Union, though, is... It's hard for me to remember a sequel in recent history that takes a dump on the first as much as this one does. Like, they mentioned that Xander Cage is dead like 5 times. They just keep saying it. It's like they were trying to cater to a completely different crowd.
But they kept the name of the movie. Like, they kept the name. It's
well, not only that, they enshrine it in a way, because the program wasn't called the Triple X program. Oh, this is stupid. I'm getting into the lore of the Triple X movie.
It's important because Sam Jackson is in it, and
the redeeming scene of that movie is where Ice Cube drives a tank onto the top of an aircraft carrier and then hooks it up to the launching system that they use to launch planes off, right?
I forgot
and then
about
launches
that.
his tank into another tank. Yeah, that's... I felt okay after that.
That's a lot of buildup just for one scene, but I'm good with it.
And then I guess Scott Speedman, though, too, really.
Who doesn't love a little Speedman?
His last name is Speedman. He's a superhero.
Yeah, that was the Flash's original name. They were like, that's just too on the nose. Speedman.
Another one I haven't seen working for a while. What is he?
He's one of those guys that the only reason I know his name is almost in a mocking derision for the Underworld series.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can remember him from.
Scott Speedman.
Speedman should make a comeback. I feel like we could use him.
Ario
some
Speedman.
Wagon.
Dealer.
And then, yes, I did complete the trilogy with Triple X Return of Xander Cage.
Of Xander Cage.
Mm-hmm.
How was that one? Because that one, I want to see it. It looked fun.
Okay. It's a roller coaster, but check this out. It starts out with a Donnie Yen fight, which is fantastic.
Sold.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I kind of just sold you on.
Yeah.
Not only is it a good fight, I'm reminded again, or maybe cemented, that he is, I think, the best working martial artist in cinema today. Period.
Oh man. It's hard to fight that. The only person I can think of off the top of my head that immediately I'm like, maybe, and now I'm even like arguing that because I've got other names now popping to my head, but Iko Uwe, who was the guy from The Raid, and he's doing a movie with Tony Jaa.
Tony Jaa is
Tiger Chen
is in Triple X Return of Xander Cage. Yeah.
So Tony Jaa, Tiger Chen, and Michael Jai White are all doing this movie called Triple Threat that's coming out in the future, and
lots of triples.
It's martial artists. So Triple X.
Yes, Return of Xander Cage is it's not bad dumb. It's not great dumb like maybe the first movie. It's okay dumb. It's okay bad.
It's popcorny enough to watch it once and then you're like, go back to the first one if you want to see more of this.
It actually had me thinking, and I'm going to ask you this question actually. What makes a bad movie good?
Like I guess it's subjective to the movie, but when you talk about like action movies, part of it is just kind of seeing, like, knowing that those actors know that this movie, not a great script, but man, is this fun to watch? Like, fun, okay. I think is the main thing. If the movie is fun, it can have a bad script, but the actors can kind of make it work knowing that it makes no sense.
Okay. So I think you're good on that for this one, because it is a weird, it's weird looking at the first movie and this one, because the first movie takes itself way more seriously. Like that was
an action
point.
Movie, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're both action.
No,
but
I mean, that was
movies,
like,
which is why it gets weird, too.
That was an action movie, like...
Right. No, I'm more talking about, like, think about 2002. Also, why that's weird is because it hadn't yet... I couldn't tell you when this happened, and it was probably gradually, but it's like the postmodern thing, right? Like, we're having movies that are very much self-aware of their one-liners and their stuff like that, right?
Sure.
The sequel, Return of Xander Cage, very much falls into that category. The first one doesn't really. Like, it's it takes itself more seriously and still ends up being fun, I guess, maybe because you can appreciate the Supermaning while he shoots a dude and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
But when I think about that, like what makes a bad movie good, it's exactly what you said, combined with some smart concessions still.
Sure.
Like the worst parts of this movie are when like the villains still start monologuing, or the movie rests pretty heavily on a spot where they shoot Xander. I'm gonna spoil it. I don't care. Technically it's not gonna spoil the movie for you anyways. They shoot Xander Cage and then they literally just walk away and they leave him in the room with Donnie Yen, so who has since changed sides. So they don't, move his body or look for the pooling blood or anything like that because he's wearing a bulletproof vest of all clever ideas.
Under his fuzzy jacket.
Yeah, the jacket makes a comeback. Perfect example, actually. No reference to that jacket in the first movie at all, and that jacket is horrific. What the heck?
The only human being alive that can wear that jacket and kind of pull it off was him in 2002. I don't think 2015 Vin Diesel pulls that one off as much.
Well, so they do because they mention it. Like that's one of the missions. He's like, I want to go here first, and they're like, why? He's like, well, I want to assemble a crew, and that's where my jacket is. And then he gets his jacket back, and he's wearing that stupid thing, which might be larger than in the first movie. So it's kind of done right. Yeah.
So
because you got to live up to your memory, right? Like in my memory, that jacket is like 3 stories tall. So
it was like a suit it was like a mech for him. It was just huge.
It totally was.
He was like his feet were dangling as like the. See, I kind of view Vin Diesel's career as he has a very similar trajectory to me as like the Schwarzenegger thing, not on the same level, obviously, but like
no, I mean
you look at Triple X and there are over half the movies that Schwarzenegger did in the 80s are basically like that movie. Commando, Red Dawn, they take themselves so serious. They're not great films by any means, but man, are they fun because there's something instilled in them,
right.
But it kind of feels like, as that kind of waned and he started trying to get into things like you get into like End of Days, which not really quirky, not funny. It was a very serious action movie, which I also really like. The Sixth Day, not very good. It starts kind of
governor stuff, but still
later, that's kind of like where Vin Diesel seems like he's at right now. He's at that part.
Well, I mean, Vin Diesel's never going to be as prolific as Arnold. Like that's a tough comparison for anybody though. Yeah.
I just mean like if you look at like if you take the general idea comparison, I think it's apt.
And that's the stuff that totally shines through in the first movie that makes it such a weird holdover.
Right.
Return of Xander Cage it still has some cool stuff. Like he beats up a bunch of guys with his motorcycle like while he's riding, but in doing wheelies and like swinging the tail at him and stuff like that.
Sure.
Until his motorcycle turns into a jet ski and it turns into a chase. So there's plenty of good stuff, and there's good lines. Like there at one point when he's getting shot by a bunch of dudes and it's pretty dire, he just looks at somebody and says, "What a rush!"
You know what? That's the selling point. It's them copying lines from Point Break.
Somebody calls him a Red Bull freak show, which I thought was pretty fantastic. But then one of the crowning lines is when he's killing one of the bad guys, and he says, which I'm guessing this is referring to a point previously in the movie that I didn't pick up on exactly, but he says, "I finally figured out the math problem. It's gonna take 2 flushes," and then he punches a guy through the toilet of an airplane. Out into the
I am willing to bet there was absolutely nothing referencing that at all, and it was either cut out or they were like, yeah, he would definitely be considering math while he's fighting. Like he's sitting there thinking,
maybe he doesn't have to. It's just true to life, really. So, but yeah, and he has a crew, and they're all triple X's, and they all have talents. It's class based. The movie is class based, technically.
So you've got a rogue, you've got a wizard, you've got
not so specific. One of them's a really good DJ, and that's it. And that comes in handy once.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I am not going to spoil the end of this because the end ratchets it up and freaking lands it. Like one after another. I'm like, what? Like, oh, and then there's the choreography between Donnie Yen. There's 3 fights going on between the crew, Vin Diesel and Donnie Yen, and it cuts between all of them, and they all land, and there's great parts to them, and the choreography is cool. And then there's a freaking reveal that's blows your mind that I am not going to spoil.
So does the ending kind of redeem the movie?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
It's way better than the low points. Like it's worth watching.
Okay, now I'm super sold on it.
I would even recommend the trilogy. Like do a trilogy run.
Down.
Like it was worth it.
I'm not going to watch State of the Union.
Fair.
I've seen State of the Union 3 times, and each time it was like, yeah, this wasn't good. It still is not good. Do I watch it again? No.
How did that happen? Yeah, what's going on?
I will give every movie, like most music,
3 tries.
I will give everything at least a second try. And when it's something like, I like Ice Cube, I like the idea of Triple X. I don't know what went wrong there, man.
No, none of it came together in that one. Okay. Hey, movies are so fun. Video games also exist, and we've played so many of them. It's hard to keep track, but we're going to attempt to do that.
Man, every game I played this week, we played together. I haven't.
Oh, really?
I didn't play anything separate. I just haven't time. We have friends in town, so.
The only one I have down, I've already spoiled this, was Destiny 2. So what else did we play together?
Yeah, we played Forza. We played a little bit of Forza.
Oh, that's right, we did.
Yeah, and we played Rocket League.
I guess we did.
Mm-hmm.
Did we? Oh, we streamed that. That's right. I
we
forget
did.
because we did. Yeah,
because we also
some Destiny videos as well.
Yeah, so we played the Destiny 2 beta. We got some videos up on that. Our run through the single player campaign. We played at the same time, so you can hear some pretty amusing stuff in there when one of us gets ahead of the other and is like, "Oh, that's cool," and then the other gets there and goes, "Oh yeah, is it?"
Yeah, we were just gonna do the spire, the strike,
yeah.
Inverted spire, because that's obviously more conducive to streaming. But we had to play through the story first, and we were already recording, so
why not? It was fun, and I think those videos came out well. They were fun.
Check them out.
Yeah,
sure.
They were fun to do.
Until maybe how do you feel about Destiny 2 though? Let's just dive into that.
Okay. Do you want me to be? Do you want me to do this seriously, or do you want me to do this the other direction?
I don't know.
Because I could go the other direction's real simple.
Okay, well let me hear. I'll tell you how I felt about it. Maybe you can.
Why don't I play off of you? Yeah.
Smash that. Yeah.
That's good.
No,
it sucks. What are you doing? Why? It's the same game. Okay, no, go ahead. Sorry, I couldn't stop myself.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it's good to get that out of the way. It's plenty like Destiny 1, and I liked Destiny 1. It had a lot of flaws. Maybe going with the story mode first. It's incredibly good looking, incredibly cinematic. Even when I was trying to find the thumbnail for those videos, I had made like 7 thumbnails because they all looked great. I was like, man, everything just from the direction to the character design, like it looks. I still like that, and that's still really good, and it's definitely stronger than Destiny 1 for sure. So
I can agree with that. I can agree with pretty much everything you said there.
Okay, all right, okay. So then we get to the strike, and the gameplay's still there. It's tight. Like I've always liked the gunplay. It is very solid. Like it feels really good. That was never the problem with Destiny 1 though, I guess. But it doesn't feel different than Destiny 1. I mean, the big change is that they've made it so your guns fill different slots now. You can have 2 primaries and 1 power weapon.
Yeah. I don't remember how they frame it or phrase it or whatever.
But that includes all like sniper rifles, shotguns, and rocket launchers, and
grenade launchers, all that stuff. Okay. I think too, or maybe grenade launchers are secondaries. I don't remember.
No,
those were
I had a grenade launcher in my.
Those were thirdaries.
Yes, tertiaries.
Tertiaries. Ah. Word.
All good and fun, but just like it was fun in Destiny 1. Like by the time we got to the end of that strike, I was like, this is a fun reminder. I remember doing all this. I remember playing with a bunch of people and doing 2 other people and doing strikes and having a good time. I've done that, and I think I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, without getting too into it, I mean, I think you can go out, find the variety of reviews that are out there, the number one, everything you just said is pretty spot on for me. I don't agree. I feel like there is some the gunplay it felt different to me. It similar but different. The movement, same thing. It felt slower. I didn't feel like I was moving as purposefully as I did in the first game.
Yeah.
It felt sluggish.
I did, because you mentioned that, and I did think about how it was sluggish. And again, this might go back to some of it just being in a different genre for all intents and purposes. But the shooter has evolved way past Destiny, like a long time ago. Remember, like, I mean, when Destiny 1 came out, it was kind of maybe on the brink. Like, I think it was might have been the same year as Titanfall 1 or something like that. But people were figuring out that the FPS genre needed something more, needed parkour, needed speed.
Yeah,
and all this.
It needed an injection, a boost.
And Destiny got its sliding, and I think there was the double jump kind of was another thing. But yeah, it's by no means evolved the way that pretty much even Call of Duty has by now. So it still has FPS trappings, like it has MMO trappings. It has more MMO trappings, but it kind of occupies this middle ground, and for that reason, almost can't evolve in a way. So yeah, I agree, but I think it's kind of just. I think it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to feel a little bit more sluggish because everything else isn't anymore, you know?
Well, and like I don't mind that it's sluggish in comparison to something like Doom. Like I don't compare those two because even though they're FPSs, it's like a totally different thing. But I mean, yeah, I guess Titanfall was definitely a little bit faster. Titanfall 2 even. But in comparison to like what I remember from Destiny in itself,
even just from Destiny 1,
that's more what I was thinking, because like the game, to me, Destiny, the gameplay was never my issue with that game. For the most part, the gameplay was solid. Like we've talked about that.
I should also say I think it occupies that space pretty well. Like if it feels a little dated at times, I think it's maybe the best example of a holdover that you could have.
Sure. You know? I just feel like Destiny 2, it's that beta, it felt different. Like the speed felt slower than the original from my memory.
And that might also be because I think that's some other people's complaints too. Like they were wondering why it took so long for stuff to charge up, your abilities and all that.
Oh, which was,
if you remember, your builds from Destiny 1 were probably, made at fixing, like there were buffs that helped those refresh rates. The word I'm looking for. Yeah. So yeah, it would make sense that it doesn't feel exactly like my guy, especially in Destiny 1, was built to completely, like I had 0 refresh on my melee, I think it was. And it was all dumped into my special and my grenade, I think was the other one. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I noticed the difference, but I was spec'd out like way. Yeah.
And that's true. That's very possible. So it very well could have been the spec.
Right.
But it wasn't good to me. It was everything about this, like that story, that opening, it looked beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, fantastic.
Which Destiny 1 looked
great too. Yeah, I mean, this looks better. No question. There is zero question. This looks better. But that story for me did nothing, and it partially did nothing for me because didn't care about any of that stuff from the first game because they dropped all of it. That whole first game is the thing that I need to catapult me into wanting to play this. I need to care about all of those characters. I need to care about the Traveler.
It would help. Yeah, I bet.
That story, everything about that whole run from that single player thing.
Nothing compelling about that enemy? Like nothing that's set up about
man, that enemy, Bane, you mean? No. Because I can't wait to find.
I got a real.
Because I cannot wait to find out he's not the real enemy. I guarantee it. At the end of the game, you're going to find out somebody is freaking puppeteering him. I'm calling end game on that. And then on top of that, this feels like just an expansion pack. This is like you're doing what the Taken King did. Cool.
How much of that do you think is just symptomatic of the genre? Like this is any other MMO, and this is an MMO no matter how you dress it up. It has all those trappings.
I totally love the fight. Like, and somebody brought this up on Reddit. I'm gonna interrupt you on this one for a moment because somebody brought this up, and this I'm paraphrasing here, but it was perfect. I like the argument that so many players make, and I've seen it since Destiny 1 came out. I've seen it all since this was announced, that you get the people that are like, we love all of these functions that are all MMO functions, but it's not an MMO. And it's not an MMO because you want to defend the game.
It's semantics.
It's semantics because it's an MMO. No matter how you lay this out, this is an MMO. It may not be WoW. It's still an MMO.
Yeah, this is the trick to semantics. Like you make a statement like that about, like, again, my question is how much of the expansion pack feeling to it is symptomatic of it being in the MMO, and then somebody goes off and is like, well, it's not really an MMO. Okay, maybe that wasn't my question. Maybe we don't argue about its definition and how that changes. If you want to incorporate that into your answer of how do you think the fact that this feels like an expansion,
sure,
it has something to do with its MMO elements. Okay, have I then said the question correctly? Just answer the question.
Fair enough.
That's.
And again, I wasn't necessarily making that. I just think it's a funny argument.
No,
and I like the paraphrase. But yeah, I mean, I honestly, my experience with MMO expansions, and I can honestly, I mean, it's been a while. I haven't played. Let's see, what was the last expansion from WoW?
It's true. We might just be the last people to answer that question.
The last expansion from WoW that I played was Pandaria, Mists of Pandaria. I think that's what it's called. And that's pretty old. That's 4 or 5 expansions back, I think.
4, really? Okay.
But even before that, like every other instance of any MMO I played, and I played quite a few of them, I never felt. I guess I almost universally felt there were very few expansions that I've run into where I feel like they didn't add enough, or they didn't dramatically change something in the world via lore, via weapons you could get, adding a new creature, whatever. Like, I remember going through EverQuest, and there was 1 or 2 that I remember I was like, man, this is a boring expansion. But the rest of them weren't. They did something cool. EQ2, same thing.
Gotcha.
And this is one where...
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if we can speak to any of that, with Destiny 2 yet, because we don't know,
right. For sure. But based on this beta, which of course Bungie has said, this is an old build, so much of this is different. Well,
yeah, man.
Great. You know what? Here's my issue with this whole old build thing. Like, I understand that you do need a stable build, but don't put out this build that you're going to make 1,000 major changes to. And then on top of that, the game comes out like in 3 months, 4 months, something like that.
Because it engenders statements like this, which I think are because apparently a lot of people had complaints. I didn't really have these complaints, but they're about ammo scarcity and PvP.
Yeah, I didn't run into ammo scarcity, all that. Like, that impacted me.
I definitely had to keep switching weapons, which I think was actually a good outcome of ammo scarcity. Like, it's
sure,
having me switch stuff up. But anyway, the statement that Bungie made was that this was an old build and that they were already aware of some of these problems. So it was like, it's the most PR speech I've ever heard for, oh yeah, we already knew that. Like, oh yeah, no, yeah, no, we're way ahead of you. I mean, it's probably true, but it's...
Well, I think it may be true to a point, but whatever. The point is, the build they played, or the build we played, it's not different enough from Destiny 1 to be of interest to me. It doesn't do anything better than Destiny 1 to make me interested in it further. It's Destiny 1 with a little bit of sheen to it. Now, I am not going to say that that's a bad thing for a lot of people. There are plenty of games that I like that are sequels that are essentially the same game.
Yeah. No, and we can talk this to death. I think we're also just not,
This just didn't increment itself in a positive way enough for me to want to go back into that world. So Destiny for me
it didn't make enough changes to make it something you want to play.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it for me. I mean, we played Rocket League, not a whole lot to say about that. I did get some more Rick and Morty stuff, which awesome. And then the Horizon 3, the Hot Wheels stuff, we did some co-op campaign.
Yeah, so okay, well I'll take the wheel here because I'm going to speak at both of those things at length, so you can let me know, because I did dive into Rocket League the entire anniversary update.
Oh, cool.
Like it's got some new achievements and some new, the items were the big thing. Yeah, there's lots of Rick and Morty stuff. One of the achievements though was for completing 10 placement matches in competitive mode.
Your favorite thing to do.
It ended up being a little fun. Like those are always a little fun because I ran into one guy out of 10. So not that bad actually, if you think of the odds, that was just a total dork, like bad dork, I should say. Cause I'm a total dork, but like he kept messaging me with, every time I made a shot, he would say like cheap or something like that. And I don't know. Luckily, I ended up beating him. The only thing that angers me about people like that is because I just never respond, but I wish there was a more concise and accurate or effective way to respond that communicated how much I don't care. I want to send him a message that's something like, oh, this game's really important to you, isn't it? But then it's not important enough to me to even send that message. And it's just so
every time he sends you a message, just whoops. Need boost.
Yeah, you're okay. All right. Yeah, you know what? I don't have the need boost mapped. I need to get that.
I have that.
Right.
I think on every one of my arrows, it's the first one for like.
I need to do that. Mistake number 1. You're right. Okay. But the other 9 guys were cool, and it was fine. Like GG after every single game, which then I did respond back because I would feel bad if I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a GG.
Yeah.
I think.
Cool.
But it's fine. Yeah. It's a fine update. That was some more fun to be had with it. Same thing with Forza Horizon. The Hot Wheels DLC, completely finished that in its entirety.
Oh, nice.
And it adds some really cool things, actually, which, I mean, it's been long enough since I played the main game that these could have been in the main game some way, and I've just forgotten. But it introduces a medal system where you're getting medals for the first 2 come for winning the race, and then...
The first one is finishing the race. The second is winning.
That's what it is.
The second is winning the race, and to win the race, you have to be top 3. You don't have to I don't think you have to be number 1.
Oh, okay. And then the third one, you have to win. It includes all of the goals, which are finish and win the race, both at the same time. And then a third that's usually something like do this many tricks or do this many drifts or do this many skill points. It gives you a goal, which I actually found was pretty fun.
They are, totally.
Yeah, so I actually enjoyed that system that they introduced, and the tracks are cool, like still fun.
Yeah,
varied.
I think my only issue with the Hot Wheels DLC is number 1, all of the Hot Wheels cars are just kind of crappy.
True. Yes.
They're just like they're all like really crappy cars that you have to go out of your way to tune to make cool. And then on top of that, all of the races are using like those crappy cars, that class. And we ran into
they tied that to was this how the main game was too? Like it progresses by the amount of medals you accrue. And the whole thing starts out with A-class races, and then you get 40 medals, and it goes to S-class, and then you get more, and it goes to S2 or something like that.
I feel like on some level it does, but it's not. It never felt as bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes those beginning races not as fun.
And one of the other things is, while I love the DLC, it's a ton of fun. But another one of those things is that the tracks. Those races are unlike any other race in the game, maybe 1 or 2 on Blizzard Mountain, which
I haven't played yet.
This is a guarantee. If you fall off the track, you've lost the race. You're not making a comeback on this. And there are a ton of spots where you'll go off the track, and that's like if you're not like right up in the front. I mean, you can finish the race, but if you're towards the back, you're dead, because there have been multiple times when we have fallen off the track, and then it resets you in a spot where you have a very hard time getting enough speed to make a loop-de-loop, to make a twisty thing, and you'll just fall off the edge. And like we had one race that I got stuck. I couldn't get anywhere, and it took me the entire race, basically.
I'm pretty sure we had one of those during a stream.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
There were actually a couple times where I was fast traveling around the world when I was cleaning up kind of the last achievements for XP boards, or, even the danger signs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where I would fast travel to a spot on the road, and it would be one of those spots and my car would just slide off the road and I had to fast travel somewhere else because I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. So the fact that it's really easy to fly off the edge in this, that can be a frustration with some of those races for me.
Although tell me if you've run across this yet. I don't know if this has always been in the game, but there's an auto upgrade system now. If you try to start a race with a car that won't make it up those things, it'll tell you. Maybe it didn't do it for us because we were in multiplayer.
It might have been
free roam. But yeah, in single player, if I did that a couple times where I tried to choose a car that wasn't good enough for the track, and it's like, do you want to auto upgrade it? And I was like, okay. And then it throws in all the stuff for you and turns it like you choose what class. You're like, I want this to be an S1 or an S2, and then it'll just put everything on it if it's available to turn it into that class.
Yeah, I think they did that in Blizzard Mountain too, because some of the mountains, they're like, do you want to upgrade your car and put chains on your car? Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's my next. I'll probably play that this week.
Blizzard Mountain.
Get into Blizzard Mountain.
Between the two, I actually like Blizzard Mountain more. I like the aesthetic of Hot Wheels more, but the actual gameplay and everything, I loved Blizzard Mountain. That was way more fun. So definitely hit me up for that. I want to play more of that. Okay, because that was just fun. That was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then I kept going update crazy here. I downloaded the 666 update for Doom.
Doom, metal song, yeah.
That's it. Man, never heard it sung so well.
Thank you.
There's a lot of changes. They've completely redone the multiplayer system. Like they've had 3 DLC packs, and it was all kind of rotated around that. Like you get content with the DLC, of course. They've done away with the packs as they exist now. Like you don't buy them anymore. There's no season pass anymore. All the content is now in there, and it's tied to a completely new leveling system where it's more traditional, where you're unlocking the items as you level up. And they also introduced a medaling system, which is pretty much like Overwatch in that it awards you medals based on your performance in the game, no matter if you win or lose.
Yeah,
so it's kind of gives you something to work for. It makes you feel good about what you've done.
Make you feel good about the fact that you're bad at multiplayer in Doom.
Yes. Yeah. Although you don't get a great medal if you're that bad. I don't know. I actually love all the additions. They've done away with what was that thing even called before? You remember when we played and there was like you were equipping buffs of some sort somehow?
Vaguely. It's been
so. I played the first 2 packs and I still couldn't tell you how that freaking thing worked. Hold on, the hack module system. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You install module hacks. I don't know. Never figured it out after even. I mean, I didn't play a little bit. Like I went back for the first 2 DLC packs. So
yeah,
completely done away with for a rune system that's more like the single player. Like it's more readily accessible. Like you're just equipping runes that give you bonuses during the game. Cool. There you go. You got 3 slots. You can switch them off on the fly. There you go.
All right.
It's a better addition. The multiplayer itself still kind of as good as it was.
All right. So something I'm not going to go jump back into now.
No. I mean, there have been like single player updates. Like I would totally go back for, the arcade mode and stuff, the new achievements for the single player, but but it's cool. Doom's fun.
Doom was good. Yeah.
And then the only other thing I played was Galaga, part of that the 3
arcade
game
pack
series that I got. Yeah, the Dig Dug, Galaga, and Pac-Man. And it's good. It's fine. It's good. Those are actually really good ports.
It's Galaga.
It is Galaga.
Probably
Pac-Man this week.
One of my lesser genres of games. I'm not a huge fan of the shmup, the shoot 'em up. And Galaga I was never terribly good at. Same thing.
It was one of the first, like it's an early game of mine, so maybe that's why I'm a little...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I grew up playing it.
Galaga.
Those shmups were never my favorite thing. There were certain games that I really loved that were like that. Like I loved 1942.
The overhead stuff, or Gradius, whatever.
There's a game called like Xevious or Xenius. I can't remember, but it was.
Xevious, pretty sure.
I really liked that game because I liked
R-Type.
I liked the look of that because you were like alien and stuff, but you were flying over like weird. I don't know. It was cool.
Definitely like those way more than Galaga, but
yeah,
that's it. That's all I played.
Well, why don't you just Pokemon go on to the next section?
Yeah, do you want to? There was a Pokemon Go Fest that was disaster.
I heard
don't know.
about this. I did not actually read too much into this. I know that they made a bunch of changes and that there were some raid stuff that they added. And we did.
Yeah, that was even before all this.
Just the other day, we actually saw people doing the raid. We saw, and I haven't seen this many people in one spot since Pokemon Go launched.
Want to do one.
Yeah, I'm not at all ever. It's
But
uninstalled on my phone. So
yeah, I was gonna say you don't even have it. Well, this Go Fest was apparently a festival for
it's not
Pokemon, but
it's not Pokemon Go Fast.
well, you need to connect to the servers to go fast, I would imagine, which is something they couldn't do very reliably at this place. Apparently, there was a big I think it was the Saturday of the event that was supposed to be like this big thing. Everybody go out there. There's bonuses and go do it. And then everybody went and did it, and they couldn't connect real well online at all. And everybody got their money back from the event. They've got $100 worth of Pokecoins out of it. They've extended all of the bonuses. Like they're doing like double Stardust, double Candy, double Experience. There's new Pokemon, rare Pokemon that show up everywhere. So they're trying pretty hard to make good on it, but it sounds like a pretty gross disaster. Or as Niantic put it, horrific, I think, actually, they came out. And
I did hear, and I read some tangential stuff about it that not only was the actual like organization a mess, but a whole bunch of the leaders that were chosen were not very responsive. They weren't terribly great leaders. So like you had your different group leaders, I guess it was just a mess,
man,
top to bottom.
All the way around. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
you know
bummer.
what? I'm not going to go next year.
Yeah. You know what? Save your money this time. Let's take a trip up to Canada and become a pair of trailer park boys here. Let's talk about some trailers that we saw.
Okay. I'm glad that went to the show. I thought you were just going to equate Canada with one big trailer park for a second.
No, the show is hilarious, man. I had no idea how freaking long that show had been on, and I started watching it like last year, and holy crap, that
Pretty
show is really fun, and it's great because it looks Canadian as all hell. It's super VOD, like it looks like it's shot on VHS, man. It's
more Canadian than Video Game High School,
on par. More Canadian in that it's like the trailer park of Canada, I guess.
Also, maybe we should explain that we've named this section Trailer Park in the agenda.
Okay, sure.
Because it's about a bunch of trailers. There was a bunch of trailers that came out this week.
Let the viewers in on the audio gag, I guess.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Okay, maybe.
For new viewers,
I don't know.
We call you viewers. Second,
Injustice 2, Starfire.
So, whatever about Starfire.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're more interested in the Bizarro cameo?
That was totally that was the thing that caught me in the in this trailer. She looks fine. She looks like she's going to be a fun character. I
actually like her moves, like laser hands and
she
her
looks
X-ray up into space looks beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great. She's just a character, like she kind of falls into that grouping of characters that I don't have a ton of history with, and what I do know about her just doesn't excite me.
Sure.
It's just
I'm not going to go get a comic or anything, but
right. Yeah. But they did. There was during one of the fights they showed a premiere skin for Bizarro, which is something I've been dying for. I've wanted that for a while, among a few others. And so the hope here is that they're going to release some more characters, but along with this, they'll release more premiere skins, because those I think are going to be the things I'm more interested in than the actual character releases.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love Bizarro in all forms. Like, he's actually maybe one of my favorite DC characters because his story has always got this like bittersweetness to it.
It's a tragedy. He's a tragic character.
Yeah. I like it a lot. Like, like I said, one of my favorite characters in that universe.
Yeah.
I don't like this skin. Like, it basically just looks like zombie Superman. I want to see like polygonal white Superman.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
Or the NetherRealm version of that, which would be super rad, 90% of the time.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. I do like the Bizarro that almost looks more like Crichton from Red Dwarf.
Is that a Canadian show too? Isn't that?
No, Red Dwarf is a British show.
British, that's right. Yeah, whatever.
That's a UK show.
Same thing.
It's one of the funniest shows ever created.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, just
Oh man, wait, are you unfamiliar with Red
I've
Dwarf?
not revisited it since it turned me off so hard when I was a kid. It was one of those shows I caught when I was a kid and was like, "Why is this stupid thing on? I don't understand anything about it." And I want to get out of here as quick as I can.
The cat that was a cat that became a human. That there's a part where they have like the food thing that it just creates whatever they want. And when he first finds out about it, he walks up to it and he presses a button. He goes, "Fish, fish," and it just keeps giving him like TV dinners of fish. And he's just stacking them up. Fish. He's got like 6 of them.
Okay.
Fish.
I'm sold. No, I'll go back to that.
It's hilarious.
Also a trailer for Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies.
The minute, the absolute first word out of the voiceover's mouth, I knew exactly who it was. And it was like, you know what? That's how you get me interested in Call of Duty, because it was Udo Kier. I love Udo Kier. Kier, fantastic German actor. You best remember him, because everybody best remembers him from a small American film called Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. He was the guy who was running the party that Ace Ventura goes with Courtney Cox to, and he's the German man
wearing a tuxedo. Oh, okay, right, yeah.
That's Udo Kier, but he was in Das Boot and The Keep. He's in a ton of great movies. He's a fantastic character actor.
Wow. Okay.
Always
I
a joy.
totally missed that. Yeah.
Udo Kier.
I'm not waiting for any Nazi zombie stuff. It's never been the draw for me.
But
it's been fun to look at when they built those casts, remember? And they had like Ron Perlman and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. This doesn't have any of that. So
it does. Well,
what?
It does.
Not like that, or not as good as that.
David Tennant's in the game. I don't know if he's in the Nazi zombie thing though, but he's one of the stars of the game.
If they have that, the trailer did not showcase it very well. The trailer was like, look at this gross stuff, basically.
And listen to Udo Kier talk to you.
That's okay.
Udo.
+1.
I will say this. This is like, if that was something that was separate, I might actually be interested in picking that up. I've never played any of the Call of Duty Zombies games.
I feel like I have, because I have this idea of the mode being very kind of slow and plotting and tower defense-ish. Yeah, I have played it. I couldn't tell you which game it was
I'd
for.
be willing to go back and get the one that had, I think it was Ron Perlman, where it was like in the 30s and they had like Tommy guns and stuff.
I wonder if that's part of the standalone. Are they doing like a zombie standalone thing?
Yeah, but I don't know if it has all the zombie stuff. I don't know.
It's an effective trailer.
It is. It's a great trailer.
A World War II Nazi zombie mode.
Because again, I'm telling you, I would be willing to play this if it wasn't attached to the actual Call of Duty game.
What if the Evil Within 2 was attached to the Evil Within 2 game trailer?
Oh, that's an interesting idea. Like, create a trailer for the game?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Like, that's usually a movie thing.
Nice and weird.
It was weird. That didn't do anything for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
I like some of the visuals because there were some pretty gory things in there, but I didn't get the first game, and I don't mean I didn't get it, like I didn't understand it, which I might not, but I didn't play the game
that was
either.
Everybody who got it didn't get it.
Yeah, so I didn't play it, and I don't know if this is like, if it sounds like it's definitely referencing stuff from the first game, but the trailer kind of comes off to me as a lesser Silent Hill.
Well, it's still Mikami, isn't it? Like, was he? Was he Silent Hill or Resident Evil?
He was. I don't know.
Google it, or I'll Google it. He's Resident Evil.
Okay,
but he's not doing.
Yeah, he's not directing this one. This one's being directed by a guy named John Johannes, and he did the DLC for the first game. So I don't know, and that's another one.
Right.
I don't know anything about that DLC, if it was less horror oriented, more something oriented. I don't know.
All right. Hey, let's sharp left here.
Sharp left.
Crash Bandicoot.
The Evil Within.
Apparently some people would agree. Like, apparently this remake, the Insane Trilogy, is like a lot harder than people remembered. And the developers basically just released a statement that said, I guess you'll have to get better.
Good for them. Good for them. Crash Bandicoot.
But the trailer they released was for an unreleased level, I guess, from the original, I don't know which game, but called Stormy Ascent. And they're releasing it for free.
Which is cool. I like that. Cool. I like that they went back and they either had it floating around or whatever. I'm curious if like, it's unreleased. Was it finished? Did they go back and finish it?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine they did, but who knows?
It's cool.
How it's different. Yeah, doing a remake right, basically, I think was what that is.
Yeah, like one of my favorite things ever put out was, do you remember when the Super Mario collection came out for like I don't remember what it was. It the 64
Super Mario All Stars.
Yeah, it was it, and it had the lost levels. That was like that. It was a different game.
SNES.
From like from somewhere. It was like some Japanese game that never made it to the States or something, or levels that were, I don't know. That was super cool. I loved that, and so I love seeing things like this.
Always a win. Yeah.
Yeah, never gonna play it, but very cool.
And then Telltale released like kind of 3 trailers technically in a video that was a big long not trailer. But so if you did the work, you got to see some of Batman season 2.
Yep.
Which is kind of only interesting. It's only interesting to me in my head because it looks like the Riddler figures in pretty prominently.
Yep.
And it made me think, I'm kind of waiting for the gritty good reboot of the Riddler, I think.
Are you?
Right?
Are you? Because if you are, you may want to just hop right into the current Batman series that's starting like the tale that's building right now.
In the
actual comics.
Yes. Go to the comics for my Batman.
Yeah, not. Yeah, I know.
I guess. Does he have his own comic now?
He's sharing it with other characters, but yeah. I mean, it's out there. It's available.
Yeah, Telltale Batman is the theme here with all of them is that they're still adventure games. So
they are, and so it was Batman. It was Batman 2.
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead, right? Which
season
4,
final season.
Which they're finishing it out.
Yeah,
which is great.
Which is only interesting in that they seem to be finishing out the Clementine arc, which is actually pretty cool.
But
again, I'm hoping that they show up in what they're seeming to do, and then I'm like, well, I'll have to play an adventure game to find out, and
or you just watch the complete game on YouTube.
Okay.
What's actually interesting here to me, is they finally Wolf Among Us 2, and that's a day one. This is the one I've been waiting for. I'm kind of burned on Telltale games, but this is the one I will pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I keep mentioning adventure games kind of as a negative. It's just, especially with Monkey Island that I played recently, I kind of came to this understanding that I like the idea, but I literally fall asleep during them often, no matter how good they are. And I'm sure that the Telltale ones have been very good. The Walking Dead one was very good, but yeah, I've kind of reached that point. You know how important Wolf Among Us is when I don't care now. Like that, I will still play that no matter how adventure gamey it is. That's my promise.
Fable's great story, and that's just a great world for them to play in. And
it is,
and it just I love it. And
the look, I hope I still, regardless, I still hope some of the jank is ironed out, and I'm heartened that this is seeming to make some traction in a lot of different circles. How people like the Telltale fatigue seems real.
Yeah,
and I've seen some people saying like even just make a different engine, like step it up. Like we're ready for version 2.0. Of these things for sure. So I still hold out hope for some of that for this, but either way, I'll be playing that
for sure.
Fortnite.
Yeah, Fortnite, man. Okay, first of all, I want to say We went years ago at PAX and got to play this when it was pre alpha, and we had a ton of fun with it. It was a really good time. At the time we did get to play it, KL Smith, Arctic, who's now the community manager for Paragon, was running the whole thing, and he let us know, and we went and checked it out, and I played it a few times at home. Off the game for a couple years, pretty much. I haven't touched it. I haven't really looked at it. It's been pretty much radio silence up until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, they haven't said a whole lot. I mean, I haven't kept up at all. I know there's a beta community. I think it's been out there. Yeah,
no, there's definitely a community that's built for it already.
But yeah, they also just haven't said a whole lot about it.
Yeah, Epic has not. They haven't. It has not been at the forefront. They've definitely been pushing Paragon more. But a couple weeks ago, they started saying, hey, Fortnite's coming. Reminder, Fortnite exists. And
Xbox, PC, PS4.
What's really interesting is that yesterday on their dev stream, they announced this Twitch integration that I think is really unique and very, very cool. So what they're doing is in-game, you connect your Twitch account, and if you're a streamer, if you're a viewer, whatever, you can watch streams of people, and the streamers will get streamer quests that are specific things they have to do. They complete that quest, and then the game can spread out and let subscribers and just viewers get individual quests. So it'll randomly pick viewers watching your stream and give them a quest, and they have X amount of time to go and complete. They get like 72 hours to go and complete it. And I just think it's great. It's a really cool way to integrate the streaming, get people watching streams, getting people interested in the game because now they've got a reason to go play it and a reason to stream it.
I think a lot of it's going to depend on the substantiality of the quests.
Sure.
For me. And also this isn't aimed at me in any way. Like if this is a way to kind of to foster community and to reward people who kind of already participate in this type of thing anyways, it sounds like it's going to be rad. Like, ideas like this are really cool, spice it up, evolve even. But for me, who's someone who doesn't take part so much in that, like watching a stream for 4 hours for a chance to get a quest, again, hopefully is substantial. If it's not, if these are like throwaway things, then
and I think they're quests to get stuff that are obviously in-game things, different weapons, different skins, stuff like that.
Okay, all right. Okay.
And I don't think it's not a you have to sit there for 4 hours. It's you go, you watch, and if it happens, it happens. That's
in there. It says I can read. No, I can't because I close the tab.
You have up to 4 hours, and then it changes or something. What was the
within a 4 hour time period, you have a quote unquote chance to receive a quest. I don't think they will drip them out. They'll probably be pretty liberal with them, but they said there's like 24 unique ones total, I think. So it's probably not. I doubt there would be a situation where I watched something for 4 hours and didn't get something out of it, because then I would never ever be back, no matter who I am. So
right.
Yeah.
But it's a cool piece of integration, and
agreed.
And it's something that immediately made me like, I already wanted to play this. This is something I want to get out onto. And the game, I think, officially released yesterday. It was you could pre-order it and play, but I think the discs are officially released yesterday.
And that it looks like a game built for streaming too. Like
totally.
It very much fits right into that niche. So
the game was fun when we played it. I really, really want to see how it changed, and I'm not going to wait until 2018. I'm going to fork out the money. I'm going to buy the game, and I'm going to play it, because
what happens in 2018?
It goes free to play sometime in 2018.
Oh yeah, I did see that also. They're being upfront about the fact that that's the trajectory for this game, because that's how you build a healthy game for a long amount of time. Which again, not something they're talking to me about necessarily here, so I don't want to give too many opinions on it, but
all you want.
I still had fun with it when we played it, for sure.
My hope here is that I hope the game is interesting enough to you that, like, after you've watched it a little bit more and you've seen it, that you go, you know what? That, coupled with the fact that the achievements are not awful, which is I'm crossing fingers on also, I don't really know. I know, I'm aware that we've had that it doesn't necessarily matter, but I like the idea that this is a game where I hope that all of that coalesces and you go, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that I think could benefit a ton from great achievement design, for sure. I mean, it needs to stand on its gameplay loop anyways. Stuff like Evolve, stuff like Overwatch is the gold standard for me. It is fun no matter what, because it's a stellar freaking game. Like, Overwatch kind of has bad achievements in a lot of ways.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
But it's still so good, and I'm not waiting for any game to be Overwatch again, because then I'll just never play another online game at all. But the game itself, I'm kind of already there in that it's fun. It's that I can't and don't want to invest time and money. Like, money's a thing for me still.
Yeah, of course.
In something that, even if I have fun with it, doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it comes down to taste eventually. Like I'm way more likely to spend $60 on something that tells a great story, and I get that story out of it. You know, I'm a narrative guy. Like that's where I derive value.
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
Trading that for hours spent, like I don't get involved in the community like that. I don't get involved in like Friday the 13th. If I had to pay money for that, honestly, I never would have.
No, and I know you wouldn't have. But that's a game, and that's a perfect example where it's almost like this, where I know that is not a game that I know that's totally never a game you're buying. You're never playing that game if I'm not pushing you to play that game. But I know that that's a game that it's so unique in what it is that we're going to have fun with it.
Sure. And I think Fortnite's probably going to be better. Like that's probably going to be a better game than Friday the 13th.
I agree. And this is another situation where if the requirement here to get you to play it is to never have you play it on your account, whatever, and like do it just like we do Friday the 13th.
Well, no, yeah, that doesn't.
And this is all assuming that even I get into it that much, because this is one where there's a lot to the game. And a lot has changed since I played it. It may not be the game that I remember at all, and it may be so different that I'm not into it.
And I need to look at the game. I need to see what changes they've had made. Like I haven't watched enough on it to know if I'm into it. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know all the I don't know half the changes. I know everything I know from the couple of game clips that I've watched recently is just Arctic talking about it, the way the Fortnite team has talked about it.
In my head, I kind of just see like what we played, but a better, more polished, smoother version of that. Like I don't know how much the core gameplay of what we played at PAX is going to be that much.
Oh
different.
Yeah, no, I think it's very similar, but I thought that was unique enough and worth it to me to play that I want to do that. So I'm gonna pick it up for sure.
Didn't figure out. Hey, you know what else is dumb?
Lightning round.
No, sorry, we don't have any. We're not going to do that this week. Upcoming games.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 got their Frontier Defense update, which is kind of their horde mode.
Super excited about that.
We should play that this Thursday at 7 p.m. PST for our stream.
Yes. Tomorrow. Which is the correct time, unlike when I say it on any other podcast I'm on.
That's fine. Hey, if you're watching a different podcast, number one, you're still watching a podcast. Can't help you out there. Number two, we're going to give you the wrong time because you're not. Get out. Friday, the 3DS is getting Hey Pikmin and Miitopia.
Hey Pikmin.
Hey.
When my daughter was really, really young, like 2 or 3 years old, she maybe she was about 4, I guess. She was given a Furby.
Oh.
And I don't. Yeah. The middle of the night, she would wake up, like as kids do, and all we'd hear is, "Hey Furby! Hey Furby! Hey Furby!" Her yelling, trying to get the thing to talk to her because it never worked. And it'd be 2 in the morning, fantastic. And we're like, "What the hell's going on?" And then we'd go out, and she'd be sitting there like holding the thing in her bed under her. Like she threw herself under the blankets, holding the Furby that used to be across the room.
I just picture the Furby on her nightstand, just staring at her while she sleeps.
I'm getting Hey Furby knuckle tattoos.
Cool. That's cool. Hey, Saturday, Dragon Quest 11 comes out?
There have been 11 quests for dragons. Stop. You're not finding them.
And this one's on Saturday.
Why? You know what? It's cool. Hey!
We already talked about the stream.
We did. Titanfall 2, 7 p.m. PST.
So let's talk about anything that's not the stream that we'll talk about next week. On next week's show.
I have no idea what I'm going to play. I don't have a whole lot of time again this week. We still have people over, so...
Oh, okay. I'm going to play Infinite Warfare. It's Pac-Man.
I am starting to understand why it's called Infinite Warfare. This is like 9 months on, and you're still going to play it.
What can I say? I love it. I play it every week. And the Disney Afternoon Collection.
I will hopefully get some... I'm hoping I can get a little...
Are you done with Darkwing?
No, I need to finish that.
Okay.
I'm hoping I can do that this week.
I'm considering starting Darkwing so we can Darkwing together next week.
I will get a little Darkwing in so we can at least have a...
Okay. All right. Get a little Darkwing in.
Until then...
0 hit points.
Let's get dangerous.